Okay, the challenge is simple. 1 month, no alcohol. We'll see how we do. So I label myself a moderate drinker. And then I'd also say, like, most of the people I surround myself with, family and friends, they are also moderate drinkers. So I'm not coming at this from like an alcoholic perspective. Coming at it from a moderate drinking perspective. I first got introduced to alcohol in college, when I first went to college, and I went a little hard. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I didn't drink at all in high school. I was a good boy. My parents would be proud. They're still proud of me. But really, the only consequences from like early college drinking was just feeling bad. Like, there was many times where I'm like, "Yo, I'm never drinking again. This hangover is brutal." That hasn't happened really the past few years, because that was a decade ago. Jeez. Getting old. We've reached our destination. So there's a few reasons why I even decided to do this challenge in the first place. And really, reason number one, we got to rewind back to over the summer. Quick little backstory. I took a few months off of work to go travel the world. And about 3 months into those travels, I met this dude named James, who happened to be from America. Which is crazy. I didn't run into that many Americans while I was out traveling. And we were wandering around Greece, which is a great wine country. And I noticed, like, after a hike that we did, we were all drinking, having some wine, and he wasn't having any. So I was curious, and I asked. I was like, "Why aren't you drinking?" And he was like, "You know what? Like, I've been reading all these articles, I listen to these podcasts just about how alcohol's really bad for you, and there's been a lot of positive effects, and like I feel good after, like, I don't know, I think he said 6 weeks of not drinking." And I was like, "Bro, good for you, more power to you. Like, I can't do that. I still got 2 months of travel left, and I don't really want to not drink on the travels, but I don't know, that sounds pretty awesome. That's kind of inspiring." So then fast forward 2 months later, and I am in, I think, Croatia, and I'm having anxiety flare-ups. So I just quit alcohol and caffeine, cold turkey, see if that would help at all, which it didn't. But then, like, after I was like 4 days in, I was like, you know what, let's see how long I can go. And I made it all the way to, like, I did this brutal hike, and I was like, I need a fucking beer after this hike. So that was kind of the end. I wouldn't even call that a challenge. I did it, but that kind of kickstarted something too, because at the end of the 2 weeks, I was like, you know what? It's kind of nice not drinking, because like on all these world travels I was doing, alcohol is very ingrained into many cultures. Like Greece, you got the wine. Italy, you got the wine. Germany, you got the beer. Like, it's there. It's hard to avoid, and it's super cheap, especially compared to the USA. Now, also related to this trip was weight loss. Like, I talked to a lot of other people who had done like a big multi-month trip like this, and they all talked about how they actually lost weight, which was kind of surprising. I was like, oh, good. Like, I'm not exactly where I want to be weight-wise. This will be a good kickstart. I have fun, eat whatever I want. And then in the end, I get home, and I've lost 1 pound. And that blew, like, especially after like 2 months of hardcore hiking and walking all over Europe. So at this point, like, my brain's really churning. And I happened to listen to a podcast by Andrew Huberman talking all about alcohol and the negative effects. And it's totally geared towards moderate drinkers, like I said I was at the beginning. And kind of the big takeaway was alcohol is bad for you, even in small doses. It's just poison, which, like, I think we all kind of know, but it's also It's just like socially accepted, so it's whatever. And then I ended up listening to this other guy. I don't remember his name, but it was on the Rich Roll podcast. Yeah, so he made the 1 year no beer challenge, and it's supposed to be a personal challenge geared towards the moderate drinker, and it's so you can find out what it feels like to not be on beer or not be on alcohol, I guess, for a month or 6 months or a year, like whatever you decide the challenge is. And I was like, you know what? That's a great idea. Like, I should know what it's like. And lastly, I like challenges. I like doing fun little things like this. So 1 month isn't a long time, but you know what? I can't really remember the last time I didn't have a sip of alcohol for a month, and that's like slightly concerning, but also not. Like 30 days is kind of like that in-between period, but whatever. Like, I'm motivated. I'm going to do this challenge. It's going to be cool. I'm curious to see what the effects are at the end. And you know what? A small part of me wants to prove to myself that I'm not an alcoholic. I don't think I am, but I don't know. The challenge will prove that. All right, so we did it. Challenge complete. I filmed the first part of that video back at the end of September, and it is now early December, so it's actually been more than a month, but I only did the challenge for 1 month. And a lot of takeaways. So just to get into it, I found something very interesting, which was a lot of people would ask why, like, why are you doing it? And with other things like this, I feel like people don't ask that question a lot. So like if you're dieting, they'll just be like, oh, he's trying to get healthier. Or I don't know, if you're going to the gym more, oh, he's trying to get healthier. You quit smoking, it's like, oh, good, smoking is bad. And then it's like, oh, you take a slight break from alcohol, and it's like, dude, what are you doing? Like, you don't have a problem, like, blah, blah, blah. It's like, I don't know. That was very interesting. That was just an interesting social observation I got from the whole experiment. So I would say the challenge got easier as time went on. So it was hardest in the beginning, and at the beginning I was kind of shy about it, or like I didn't really want to tell anybody. It was like my little secret challenge, and people would be like, oh, you want a beer? Like, you want a beer with the game? You want to come out with us to the bar? And then I would just like be like, oh no, I'm not drinking tonight. And that was tough to like kind of keep it a secret. So like after a week, I was like, all right, I'm just gonna like tell people I'm doing the challenge. I was like, yo guys, I'm doing this 1 month challenge. Not gonna be drinking alcohol, so I appreciate if you just don't ask for that, and like we can try again in a month. And everybody was very cool with that, which was nice. So unfortunately I got no superpowers from doing the challenge. However, I did get these slight improvements in several different categories. So I noticed, and it was hard to notice these things until I drank some alcohol again about like a week after the challenge. And I was like, whoa, okay. So like that was my new baseline. And now that I've done this, like, I think I just had like 2 beers when I was down in San Antonio. And I was like, sheesh, even that much, like I could tell a huge difference. And what those differences are is sleep quality. I was just getting more restful sleep, typically waking up more naturally. Like I would say like 50% of the time I wake up without an alarm now. My workouts felt better. Overall, just by like doing the challenge, I was kind of more in a productivity kick, or like, I don't know, everything was like, all that was kind of coupled together. I was like, I'm eating healthier, which wasn't really the focus. Like all it was the alcohol. But then it's like, oh, if I'm doing that, I might as well do everything. So the biggest benefit of all, and probably the most important, was I feel like I got more time out of going on this drinking diet for a month. Just like, well, first of all, if you get drunk, you're gonna have a hangover. But I also noticed, like, even with like, my threshold is probably like 2 to 3 drinks. I don't get a hangover from those, but like there's obvious side effects the next day or two where like I'm not as productive, I'm feeling kind of lazy, I'm not like 100% when I could be. And it's like, why am I doing this short-term gain for not a long-term, but like a medium-term consequence? It's really got my mind thinking. It's like, man, what's the point of all this? But like I said, the biggest challenge of all is the social aspect of it. It's like your friends and your family, and it's like, it's definitely out here in American culture, like a lot. So yeah, I don't know. It was a fun challenge. I'm glad I did it. It's December now. New Year's resolutions are coming up, so I'm actually contemplating doing like an extended version of the challenge. I don't know if I'll do it right at the beginning of the year, but I'm definitely going to do this at least once or twice more next year, or maybe like a longer one.